podcast platform of your choice. Apple, Spotify. Turn on automatic downloads so you catch every part of the Next Round. Listen anywhere in the world at any time on the Next Round podcast feed and support the show by following, subscribing, and turning on automatic downloads on any podcast platform. Thanks for always making the Next Round a big part of your day.
Next Round shirts, Next Round hoodies, and Next Round hats all in one place, nextround.store. Find your favorite piece of gear from your favorite show and put it in your rotation. You never know, you might be in one of our videos showing Next Round gear being worn all over the world. Find all of your favorite Next Round gear by visiting nextround.store. Place an order for you and that big Next Round fan in your life at nextround.store. Look your best at work, at school, at the stadium, or anywhere you go wearing Next Round gear from nextround.store.
Welcome into a new sport and state, the Next Round by Hard Rock Bets. As we roll on today, Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, all the guys behind the glass today. A lot to get to. Coming up in our next round part of the show, final 3 hours, 3 and 4, after we get off Sports State here, we'll do a buy or sell on college football. But here over the next 2 hours on this platform, man, we got a lot to talk about. Including some actual games on the field. We'll get to the off-the-court stuff here in a second. Also, ESPN's got the top 100 players and some watch lists for some college football awards. A glaring omission high in those rankings coming up on the show as well. And some positive Alabama injury news. All that to get to as we get going. But it is becoming very evident that Lane Kiffin is drifting out on an island on his own. We're heading for a Kiffin SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey showdown at some point, like the OK Corral, because Kiffin yesterday on the McAfee show saying, man, you can't just pick which court orders you're going to abide by and not abide to. But last night, the SEC's presidents and chancellors, according to reports, a 16-0 vote, which means the LSU handpicked governor, president, chancellor guy, voted against his own football coach when it comes to NFL players.
This is interesting because your governor is his boss, and that governor is obviously a huge LSU fan, right?
We've learned that.
Yeah, look, and back to Kiffin's comments yesterday, hey, I'm either coaching or I'm coaching against him. I get that, but, let's be sensible on some of this stuff. And we kind of talked about it and alluded yesterday with the Big Ten doing this. The SEC was probably going to quickly jump on board. What is amazing about this is Lane Kiffin is in the middle of 3 massive controversies as LSU's coach, and he's yet to coach a game.
Almost all at once, too, right?
I mean, you go from the way he left Ole Miss.
That's right.
The was it a magazine article this past year on the recruiting?
Vanity Fair, right?
Yeah, Vanity Fair. And now this.
And got dragged into the Jaden Daniels, none of his fault, really, but he got dragged into that one.
I mean, if I'm an LSU fan, I'm ready to kick this thing off.
Yeah, no doubt.
And then they go and lose to Clemson.
Clemson cannot get here quick enough.
And what's even more concerning for Lane and LSU right now is CBS Sports reporting yesterday that their sources tell them that LSU staff members, maybe even Lane in one situation, encourage these players to sue the NCAA to come back from the NFL to college, which is in direct violation of NCAA rules. So the question comes, will there be penalties down the road? And yesterday, Daquan Wright cleared waivers, as everyone expected him to do, so he's cleared to come. So we'll see what Lane Kiffin and LSU does next. Everything ends up in court, but if you missed it yesterday, the SEC joined the Big 12. They adopted an NFL NBA plan to keep players from coming. Either you got to, if you declare for the NFL or NBA draft and didn't withdraw in the appropriate time, you're not eligible. If you signed a contract or were rostered by a team, you're not eligible. The Big Ten basically took care of football before the SEC did. They'll circle back for basketball. Notre Dame says they're all in on the SEC Big Ten plans. The Big 12 and the ACC are expected to announce the same thing today. Even the Sun Belt has come out and said, we're going to adhere to the plans that the SEC and the Big Ten announced yesterday.
Well, as we said on the show yesterday, the Big Ten doesn't come out with such a strong stance if they didn't already think that Greg Sankey and the SEC were doing it. Those two, while they may seem like enemies, they, I think, always know what each other are doing.
They are drafting partners.
They're drafting partners.
Yeah,
there was no way the Big Ten was going to limit themselves without knowing the SEC was also going to do it.
The big brands need each other, but at the same time, they're super competitive, and they're not going to give a competitive advantage to one without the other having that. And I, we talked about it yesterday. Like, if everything's equitable, it makes sense, but you are going to have people that challenge this. DeQuan Wright is coming out and saying, hey, look, I could have played in the NFL, but I was told, that I needed to clear waivers to get back eligible at LSU this year. I could have had a professional career. Now, I don't think we believe that. I think he was going to get cut anyway. But, that's going to be the argument there. And, Will Wade on the basketball side is going to want to fight this as well.
I was moving to that because R.J. Louise got cleared and part of his TRO to play at LSU. He's a guy at St. John's, right?
Yep, that's right, St. John's.
And actually played
first team all Big East.
And actually played in some NBA games.
Yeah.
On a 10-day contract. Actually,
well, he was on a roster, right? Did he get in? I don't know if
he got in the game, but he was on the bench during an actual game. It wasn't an exhibition game. It wasn't a G League game. And he got cleared. And did you see Will Wade when he walked in out of the building? He jumped on him and hugged him like he hadn't seen him in years.
Somebody in the chat said...
he just met him.
Yeah. I know, probably so. Yeah. Somebody in the chat yesterday said, I just saw a video of Will Wade hugging R.J. Louise like he just got back from Vietnam. I mean, it was like, it was insane.
Feinbaum used the Strait of Hormuz yesterday on his show the same way. And then there's, just to throw fuel on the fire at LSU, LSU's women's basketball team had recruited a young lady from Ukraine, and then, what's her name? Kim Mulkey.
Yeah.
This week signed a girl from Russia, and the Ukrainian girl has left the team
because she didn't want to play with the Russian girl.
She didn't want to play with the Russian girl because her father is a Ukrainian soldier.
I guess I can understand that. Yes.
And Kim Mulkey literally said, "You two could be sort of the poster children to end the war in the Ukraine." And the Ukrainian girl was like,
LSU women's basketball.
Are you kidding me? And she's left the team. So
I love Kim Mulkey's sales job. Like, also, you could average about...
You understand what we could do here. You can average Rocky IV together.
You can average 18 and 10 for us as well. That's not important, though.
What does the NIL look like in women's basketball?
Well, I bet for her, it's as big as anybody.
Do you think it's the same, like, as far as what DeQuan Wright was going to make on a rookie contract for an undrafted guy in the NFL? Like, he's going to make more, obviously, at LSU. Do you think the majority of major college basketball women's players can make more at that level than the WNBA?
Oh, I think yes.
Yeah, I just didn't know.
At the elite program.
Okay, because, the pie is only so much, and obviously football is going to get the lion's share, and then it's going to be men's basketball, and then I don't know where you go after that.
What happens in situations like that on the smaller sports, from what I've learned, is that Mulkey probably has some big money people who are fans of women's basketball.
Yeah, one dealership that's like, I'm putting $5 million in, but it's going all the way.
And there are certain softball programs that have that around the country, women's basketball.
You hope, what you really hope is you got some millionaire/billionaire out there whose daughter's a basketball player in high school. And he thinks if I give to Kim, she'll get a scholarship. And Kim, I'm sure, will gladly give that scholarship. I've seen that happen.
I've learned, a golf team may have some, specific golf boosters.
There's no doubt. I've seen it happen. It's just remarkable that LSU, there's two remarkable things about what I'm about to say.
But what I just said, all three of those sports, they're football, men's basketball, women's basketball, and they all are doing insane things.
It's remarkable that at the same time, they may have the biggest villain in all three of those sports. Like, I don't think there's any doubt Kim Mulkey's the biggest villain in women's basketball.
Gino Auriemma still.
I think people...
it's close.
Yeah, it is close. I think people still at least can respect what Gino has accomplished.
And he's going into old man territory.
But he is a very unlikable guy.
He's very unlikable, but Kim Mulkey seems the least likable.
Yeah, but you start to look at the numbers. I mean, how many more does he have than Mulkey?
I think it's a lot, right?
Yeah, like 10 more, right?
Yeah.
It's a ton.
Will Wade has got to be the biggest villain in men's basketball, right?
Got to be.
I mean, Dan Hurley.
Yeah, but again, I think there's an element of respect for Dan Hurley. Well, it's either UConn or LSU. Is what you're telling me.
Well, I would say this for all of LSU.
Who's coaching UConn football right now?
Mulkey does. It's our man Jim Mora Jr. Right?
He left. He's at Colorado State.
Oh yeah, he is at Colorado State.
Yeah.
God, who is the guy now there? Anyway, Mulkey has at least won the hardware. If Will Wade and or Lane Kiffin ever win a national championship? For sure.
Well,
Jason
Wade,
Candle, he was the guy from
Toledo.
Yeah, he took
Will
that
Wade is the guy, though, that makes it seem like everybody, he recruits this way and everything. Everybody's against us.
That's right.
We're the villains. Yeah. Everybody's against us. That's the way Will Wade lives life. And I think it has, if you look at it, really that has not been the case. Will Wade's been given several opportunities.
Yeah.
LSU now twice. NC State, that was a good job he took. But that's the way he paints the picture of the world. Everybody's against us.
Can I at least get full agreement? Lane Kiffin, the biggest villain in the college football world?
I'll give you that now. Yes.
But the most remarkable part about that to me is I think Kiffin might be the most likable of those three. Like, Lane Kiffin has finally found a place where he's not the most hated person, and that's in his own coaching staffs.
No, I think
that's
there
at
are.
LSU. I mean, I think people hate Mulkey and Wade more than they hate Kiffin.
Yeah, I mean,
they're given sports.
If you survey anybody that covers it, that watches it, I would say 9 out of 10 don't like Mulkey and Wade, and it's probably 7 out of 10 now with Lane Kiffin.
I mean, Lane Kiffin's the most likable of that group, which is remarkable.
I would tell you this: that if we could get honest opinion, if like we had ways, Alexa, to listen into homes across America, your iPhone, just any way to hear Americans in their room a week from Saturday night prime time, how many people around the country cheering for Dabo and Clemson to beat LSU. If the map was able to light up all of the 50 states in the United States, either orange or purple during that game, for Clemson orange or LSU purple, how many states would be cheering for for Clemson to win that game? How many orange states do you think we have?
I think all of them, but Louisiana. I think
Louisiana
would be
every one of them.
And by the way, the same thing when Ole Miss plays them week 3.
Including me. You guys know how I feel about Dabo. I'm all on board. Now, I don't know where I'm going to play that game at Lance's Lafayette, so if I end up laying the 9.5 with LSU, then the story's a little bit different. But I fully plan on sitting on the couch and pulling for Clemson.
Lance is going to bring his own guts that night. All
right.
I
I love crazy storylines, and you guys would agree with all of this drama going on. They have set themselves up. I mean, they are a target this year.
It's why all offseason I have talked about that game, and I have said it's not going to stun me if Clemson wins, because I have watched enough college football in my life to know the team that gets all the attention, good or bad, all the attention, and the other team that's just laying in the weeds and nobody talks about them, that is a scary situation.
Yeah, I mean, it's and I wanted to bring this up here quickly, too, because I said this yesterday on the social platforms. Lane Kiffin now has to, in my opinion, coach his locker room, because if you've paid attention over the last week, if I'm the tight end, QB1 and the tight end, D-line, well, not QB1, but tight end 1 in the tight end room, defensive lineman number 1, the two guys that he's been working hard to bring in, it's obvious my coach doesn't have any confidence in me. We're trying to get Daquan Wright. If I was the starting tight end, he's out for the last week fighting to replace me as the starter. Those two rooms, the D-line room and the tight end room, can't be all peaches and cream right now.
Well,
Lane Kiffin's got to do some coaching on personalities to get a little chemistry back in that room.
That was the initial thing that I absolutely hated about this. It's one of the things that Dan Lanning immediately brought up, Oregon's head coach, these other guys that have gone out and sweated. It's one of the reasons, it always comes back to the L.A. Rams for me. It's one of the reasons that I really don't want to see Aaron Donald come back. It would be exciting. But guys like Ty Hamilton drafted 2 years ago, a guy like Tim Keenan III, one of those two guys is going to lose their roster spot. One of those two guys will not be on the Rams 53-man if Aaron Donald comes back. And, that's unfortunate for those guys.
Yeah, and you like them for the future. You'd love Aaron Donald for a year, but those guys could be with you for several years.
Well, that and the fact that what is team chemistry like? Like, I'm sure everybody would be excited about 99 coming back, one of the best to ever do it. But at the same time, man, you build this rapport with all of these guys that you're at camp with, and then all of a sudden a guy walks in, the guy gets cut.
Well, I mean, we talked about it in the Bediako situation. Somebody's losing minutes in that deal, and whoever loses minutes, Nate Oates had to deal with that. Now,
and I did not like the Bediako.
You did not, and
juice wasn't worth the squeeze.
No, it was not. I mean,
I don't think the Daquan Wright again. I mean, I know you kind of question where he was talent-wise. I think he's a really good college tight end that can make some big plays, but I don't know if it's worth it.
I looked up his numbers because I knew Daquan Wright played in the SEC, but I didn't really pay attention to Daquan Wright, and I was like, boy, if they're going to all this trouble to get a tight end, this guy must have torn it up. He was 31st in the league in receiving last year at Ole Miss. 635 receiving yards, 5 touchdowns. Among tight ends, that was the third best. Stowers was number 1, of course. Rowan Jones at Arkansas was number 2. I mean, third best tight end statistically in the SEC last year. That's a pretty good player.
Yeah.
I mean, is it worth all this trouble? Probably not, but he is a good enough player.
ESPN with a top 100 list. We'll get into that here in our opening segment on the next round presented by Hard Rock Bets on Sport and State. Starting next week during the Sport and State version of our show, we will do something that involves
what you got?
Our dry erase boards. We will make upset alert picks on our dry erase board.
Couldn't wait, could he?
Where we draw the logos and make a pick. And we keep running standings. We encourage you guys to do it. This is just an example of what it would look like.
That's one of your worst drawings.
For week 0.
Wow.
Well, we've always said those interlocking letters.
They're tough.
They're
like
tough.
Auburn's hard
tough
to do.
It's tough
They're
to get all the.
tough.
You know, the
Normally
toughest,
your artwork's pretty spot on,
Yeah.
though. That one's a little shaky.
Mine is the worst on the show.
toughest part about it is getting the spacing in the open areas on the inside. You know what I'm saying?
Did you go Daniel Day-Lewis, my left foot? Can you draw with your toes?
Okay, can we pull up the actual North Carolina Tar Heel logo, Tyler?
It's not close.
It's got to be close.
Dude, they would send these to Haiti if these were hats.
I was staring at it as I drew it. How is this not close?
I mean, it's close. Again.
I mean, you could tell what it is.
Yeah, again, the part.
Got a little too much spacing in the bend of the C there.
Yeah, I would agree with that. You could easily fix that, though.
And the top of the end goes out too high.
Well, I was making the top of the ends go out a little further because it seemed to be we were really too close. I didn't think it would show up good on TV. But anyway, next week we will draw and make picks. By the way, I like North Carolina plus the 7.5.
I see that. It's gone up to 8.5.
Has it gone to 8.5?
Oh, look at you moving the line, Jimmy D.
I love that. Give me 8.5.
I mean, you do have, and he's very experienced, but Jaden Craig coming in from Harvard. Like, you know, last year we were like, how good's Mateer going to be? And it ended up not being that great. Now, you had a kid from Ferris State that ended up being one of the best quarterbacks and making the semifinals last year in Trinidad Chambliss. But Jaden Craig going from Harvard to the first game of the college football season against what has to be an improved North Carolina team. Like, I don't know how improved, but they got to be better than they were last year.
I mean, it's Bill Belichick. Come on. It's got
and Bobby Petrino.
It's got to be better. Now, I know they're going into that game with no general manager and no defensive coordinator.
Yeah, well.
But Belichick may be calling plays at that point.
I would think that Belichick will take over for his son defensively there. And, you know, Bobby Petrino, what can he do with Billy Edwards? Billy Edwards is a guy that's got starts under his belt and, you know, was going to be the starting quarterback at Wisconsin, started at Maryland. So he's got a lot of experience. They're going to be better. I just don't know how much better. Good enough to get inside of that number. We shall see.
First game of the year on the power conferences, North Carolina and TCU, 11 a.m. on ESPN this weekend. Hey, Hutton and Withrow on before us here on Sport and State, and Clay Travis, who's on after us here on Sport and State. All three of those guys will be with us tomorrow night as we do our kickoff party, our 5th anniversary show at Walk-Ons on Highway 280 with a lot of fun with our friends at Bud Light, and all those guys will be down with us.
Oh, man, I can't wait. I mean, we're going to have so many people at this party tomorrow night. We've got so many different things going on. I had the opportunity to have dinner with our buddy Alexander Shunnarah last night. He's bringing multiple bottles of Pappy out. He's got some Nick Saban signed memorabilia that he's going to be bringing out. He was like, I had some DeBoer. What do you think would go better? I said, Alabama fans would step over, DeBoer to get anything Saban.
Keelon probably knows that himself.
Yes. But we're going to have $3 pints from Bud Light. We're going to have $2 long necks from Bud Light. We're going to have great food from Walk-Ons. It starts at 5 o'clock, our 5th anniversary party tomorrow night. Tattersall Park, Walk-Ons, live music. We'll also have Ubers if you need that. Just ask us. We'll have QR codes. We'll hook you up on that. So come out and join us tomorrow for the 5th anniversary kickoff party.
Yeah, we know many of you are new to the show on Sport and State. If you're anywhere near Birmingham, come on over. It is a good time. We hang out. We have fun. We'll talk to you. We'll stay there all night. All those people that are like, if I could ever talk to that Clay Travis, if I could just ever talk to him, this is your chance. Clay will stand there and talk to you all night.
And the question I get the most.
Unfettered access to Clay Travis.
Is at what time will the party go until? And I said, we have closed down Walk-Ons every year.
That's right.
So I just assume 9:30.
We'll stay there as long as you need us.
Rams kick it off tomorrow night at 9. So
8:30 for you.
It's
an exhibition.
Yeah, I can watch first quarter there.
Yeah, great TV setup at Walk-Ons. Always a lot of fun. All right, so ESPN.com has the top 100 players in college football this year. And you had an observation pretty quickly when you walked in the room this morning.
Well, I mean, again, we were just talking Nick Saban. If you go back to any of Nick Saban's teams from second year in 2008 all the way until his final year in 2023, what is one thing? I mean, how many do you think you would see Alabama players in the top 25?
25 players in the nation, I would say minimum 3.
Yeah.
I think I remember one year it was 5 of the top 25.
Well, I think really all you have to do is look at the NFL draft, and the top 32 players at the end of the year, frequently there were 3 or 4, one time 6, right, in the first round.
Yeah.
And that's your top 32 seniors or juniors there. So that kind of gives you some indication.
So Alabama does not have a player ranked in the top 35 in college football.
Wow. So times have changed.
Yeah, I mean, obviously. I mean, 35 guys in front of the first Alabama player, and that Alabama player, I don't know if you heard me tell Dunaway who it was.
Well, you did, and I would have guessed who Dunaway guessed. You asked us to guess who it was, and Dunaway said Yonze Pierre, which would have been my guess. But that's not who it was.
It's Bray Hubbard.
Yeah.
And I don't have a problem with
I
Bray
think,
Hubbard being on here, but I mean, to be 36, the first Alabama player, and I'm not saying that's off. It's just an interesting observation based on where Alabama is right now as a whole.
I think what is more alarming than just Alabama is 3 of the top 10 are SEC. Only 3 of the top 10.
Yeah, that's insane
so we
in
got
itself.
30% SEC. What's the Big Ten?
Okay,
I'll give you
the top 10.
Yeah.
Well, I think other than Notre Dame, the rest of them are Big Ten or Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Jeremiah Smith, Ohio State. Leonard Moore, Notre Dame. Colin Simmons, Texas. Remember, they're in the SEC. Malachi Toney, Miami. Trinidad Chambliss, Ole Miss. Keewan Lacey, Ole Miss. C.J. Carr, Notre Dame. Julian Sayin, Ohio State. Jaden Mayava, USC. And Carter Smith, offensive tackle, Indiana.
It's only 4 of 10. Notre Dame is very well represented on this thing. So it's 3 of 10 SEC, 4 of 10 Notre Dame, or 4 of 10 Ohio State. Notre Dame has the rest. Yeah. No, you had Malachi Toney from Miami, who should be in there, obviously, from the ACC. That was the lone ACC route.
But if you go down to 15, I think 4 of the top 15 are from Texas.
The University of, not state of.
Cam Coleman is 15th on the list. Arch Manning is 13th. Trevor Gooseby with that knee bruise is 12. I already gave you Colin Simmons. And so 4 of the top 15 are Texas players. Longhorns.
Point on Bama, only 3 in the top 100.
Yeah. Different times.
I mean, would that
Keelon
show
Russell
you,
one of them?
So does this work both ways? Because if Alabama goes 8-4, we talked about DEFCON 1 yesterday. Alabama fans are going to go nuts, so they're going to want Kalen DeBoer out. But if Kalen DeBoer goes out and makes a deep run of the college football playoff, for people like, okay, he is a great coach because he's only got 3 of the top 100.
He's only got 3 players out of the best 100 in America, and he's making a deep run.
I mean, you got to pick one or the other, right? Now, people would say it's his fault that he doesn't have that talent.
When you just started reading that, Pete Golding's got several players up there, too. It's not just Texas. I heard Chambliss and Keewan Lacey in that top 10.
Both those guys coming back.
That's right.
Indiana's got players littered all over, too. And I think that's what's interesting. Indiana, did you ever think you would see a top 100 list where Indiana's got more players than Alabama?
No, more players than almost anybody.
Yeah.
LT has 8 crystal ball stats that we'll do later in the show that's going to maybe help 8 SEC contenders if they can hit that mark. You'll want to see that to see where your team is. Another sign of the times, we've got odds out on the Biletnikoff Award, goes to the best wide receiver in the game, and the O'Brien Award, right? Is that the other one? The O'Davy?
Yeah, Davey O'Brien.
Davey O'Brien. Yeah,
D.O.B.
Davey O'Brien Award, which is one of the quarterback awards that go out there. The Biletnikoff Award, does it go to anybody other than Jeremiah Smith? Who can beat Jeremiah Smith?
It's going to be hard.
I think Malachi Toney could.
He could, because, I although it's supposed to be all about the best receiver, I think Malachi Toney's going to be able to wow with some of the returns, which, if it's an even race and both of those teams are 11-1 and they're, both top 5 teams, I could see Toney maybe get the push, based on the fact that everybody thought it was Jeremiah Smith's to lose. But in that Ryan Day system with Julian Sayin coming back, no Cornell Tate, although I think Chris Henry Jr. is going to get a lot of touches. Jeremiah Smith's numbers could be, I don't know what the best numbers ever for a receiver. I would just immediately say Devontae Smith, but that was only a 10-game schedule. Maybe maybe Larry Fitzgerald, that Pittsburgh year where he was the runner-up with the Heisman.
But if you factor in the playoffs and the SEC championship game, that's 13 for Devontae. I mean, Devontae had remarkable numbers.
But now Ohio State could play 16 games. He could shatter. He could shatter all the single-season records, I think. And again, I don't know what those are.
I'm looking it up. You want receiving yards, NCAA.
Well, I would just look at it,
single season
catches, yards, and touchdowns, the three big.
Yeah, single season is a guy I don't even remember. I'll give you the name and everything in my wallet if you can tell me where he played. Trevor Inslee.
Trevor Inslee, he played, that was is this Division I?
It is.
Yeah,
this most
FBS.
catches, you said?
No, this is most receiving yards.
That
and
was.
you do not qualify because I can't tell if you're Googling or not. I can watch
is it North
I'm not
Texas?
Googling.
It is not. It is not North Texas.
Okay.
2,060 receiving yards for this team.
2,060 receiving yards. That was back during Timmy Chang's Hawaii team.
You would think so, but no.
Western Kentucky.
Nevada, 1999. Nevada. Trevor Inslee. Never heard of the guy. Troy Edwards is number 2 at 1996. Now, I remember him playing. I saw him play at
Tim
Louisiana Tech.
Rattay.
Yeah. Crabtree, third of your major colleges at 1,962 yards in 2007 for Texas Tech.
Crazy.
Well, right now, I mean, there's only 2 receivers, and they're Jeremiah Smith and Malachi Tony that have single-digit odds as far as like the shortest odds to win the Biletnikoff. Right now, Jeremiah Smith 5-2, so plus 250. Malachi Tony 7-1. Then a former Auburn Tiger is third on the Biletnikoff list.
Who?
Cam Coleman.
Cam Coleman,
Yeah.
10-1.
Yeah, I was doing a little Florida State pre-scout last night. Singleton's going to be pretty darn good down there.
Well, I thought the same thing at Auburn.
Not Florida State, Florida.
Yeah. Deuce
Singleton's
Robinson is going to be
pretty good down
really
Deuce
good for
Robinson
Florida
at Florida State. Yeah, but Singleton at Florida. I thought the same thing at Auburn. I remember last year, and people call me nuts. I was like, at the end of the year, Singleton will have Auburn's best receiving numbers.
Yeah, I was diving in on Philo. Philo is the quarterback down there, and that receiving core is pretty well stacked.
Yeah, guess who's not on this list? There's probably 25 guys listed with odds to win the Biletnikoff this year, and one of those guys is not Singleton.
Yeah.
Now,
complimentary.
I mean, Deuce Robinson is 5th here for Florida State, coming over from USC, 12-1.
That's pretty crazy. More college football to get to on the show as we roll on here on the next round, presented by Hard Rock Bets on Sport and State. When we come back, a little tribute to Dolly Parton. We'll say some nice things about one of the great American heroes.
You could
really.
just say American icon.
Yeah. She did a lot of good in the world. We'll talk about that and maybe LT's favorite national day today as well, and a little NFL camp news. All that in the next segment right here on the next round, presented by Hard Rock Bets. Back on the next round, and we've got the whiteout game official now. USC at Penn State, prime time, October 10th on NBC.
Wow, I did not know that they've.
That announcement came yesterday.
The start time is prime time. That announcement also came because
on NBC.
I had thought that would potentially be the Fox Big Noon, which would be bad news for USC. Traveling cross country and having to play an early body clock game. Probably USC would prefer not to play in the whiteout atmosphere, but I think Lincoln Riley would take the primetime game over having to play that early game.
1,000%.
Yeah.
This is really good news for USC because that's going to be one of those swing games. Can they get to 10-2? And they've got, I guess you can make an argument, 5 really difficult games. Got to go 3-2 in those games.
Yeah.
The show today being brought to you in part by our friends at Perfect 10 Mortgage.
And that name says it all, Perfect 10 Mortgage. You can apply in about 10 minutes, and you can close in 10 days. That is the whole idea, a mortgage that's simple, fast, and fair. 10 minutes, start to finish, right from your phone. No stack of paperwork, no sitting across a desk from a banker who talks down to you. Check your options, and it won't ding your credit score. You find out exactly where you stand before you commit to anything. Date the rate, marry the house. Get the house you want right now. And if you're buying new construction, ask about the Builder program. Builder-funded rate buydowns that can get you a rate the bank cannot print. They simply can't do it. So you can date the rate, marry the house with Perfect 10. Get your house you want, refinance when rates come down. All right, how's it work? Well, you simply go to perfect10mortgage.com. That's the 10, perfect10mortgage.com. Or call 855-789-1010. 855-789-1010. That's perfect10mortgage.com or 855-789-1010. Perfect 10 Mortgage is a DBA of Network Lending, Perfect 10 Mortgage is a DBA of Network Funding LP, NMLS 2297, equal housing lender. All borrowers must qualify. This advertisement is not a promise to make a loan. Perfect 10 Mortgage, in pursuit of a more perfect mortgage.
Hey, Kinley Rasmus, the young girl playing for Phoenix City, Alabama at the Little League World Series, did it again last night. She got another big hit, 4-2 win for Alabama. They get prime time action. I guess that was Monday. They get prime time action tonight on ESPN, 6 o'clock, as they try to stay alive against Ohio. They've won 3 straight since their opening loss. She pitched again on Monday, had 6 more strikeouts, some big hits. And that team now, it's an elimination game against Ohio. There's another elimination game today, but they're still in the hunt to be the American champions and play for the world championship. That'd be hard to do, battling back from the losers bracket, but she's been a stud so far.
Yeah, and going back 2 nights ago, they're down 3-0. They ended up tying the game 5-5 on 5 straight two-out runs. So, like, the way they came back 2 nights ago and then, pretty much dominated last night. I heard the SportsCenter anchors talking about on Monday. They were like, we think Alabama's going to win this thing.
Oh, wow. So they're the betting favorite now.
Well, I keep seeing their games are always in prime time, so I would imagine they're getting a little bump in the numbers.
Probably.
From people wanting to see Kinley, the daughter of a former Major League Baseball player, both pitch and play shortstop.
Well, the last girl that we saw win a Little League World Series game was the Monet Davis. Monet Davis, yeah.
And she has now broken Monet's records for strikeouts. And
boy, her breaking ball's incredible. Have you guys seen it?
I have.
I mean, have y'all watched enough to see her break one off the table? I mean,
I've just seen her at the plate.
I haven't, but I've seen it on social media, and I mean, it's like, see, she's a righty, right? Yep. So it's like the 3 to 8.
Most people believe this is her last year of baseball, and she will transition into softball to then go on and play in the college level of that. But
so they're not worried about her arm, basically, because she's not going to be throwing breaking pitches forever.
Yeah.
So throw all you want right now.
It'll be interesting to see her choices, what she made. LT's favorite day of the year may be today. It is National Dog Day. National Dog Day today. Did you know that already?
I did know that, yes.
Did you wake up? Did the dogs have you gifts? Do you have gifts for the dogs?
He's got a tree up at the house, a dog tree.
Chili got duck this morning, and Bullet got Memphis barbecue. It's these different flavors, so they had a really, really nice gourmet can of food each.
On National Dog Day?
Yeah, Maddie would not let them sleep in the bed last night. I'm going to angle for it.
I mean, it's
tonight.
National Dog Day.
It is National Dog Day.
Dog Day Eve, they don't get to sleep in the bed, but maybe.
We had this deep conversation at dinner last night about unconditional love and just relationships and stuff. And I was like, the only unconditional love you're truly going to get, it ain't even from your kids. It is from a dog. And that is fact. Yeah. And that's why as much as I love Brown, I don't know if I can 100% trust him because he doesn't love dogs.
Yeah, dog not sleeping in the bed, that's a deal breaker for me personally.
What do you mean? Dog sleeping in the bed you don't like or you do like?
Oh, I do like it.
Oh.
And if any potential partner of mine was like adamant that it wasn't going to happen, then
that's a deal breaker.
That would be the deal breaker for me.
I get it. The only thing is we've got 2. And so although you got a king size, you get 2 Vizslas in there that move around at night. They want to get up. They want to piss. It becomes a pain in
when
the
you
ass.
get multiple dogs, it becomes a bit of a space issue.
Hey, she's out there right now shaking the head.
We have a stray that we got now 13 years ago, little Charlie. And on the show, he's known as Charlie Cockblocker because if
Maggie had him trained.
Yeah. If I ever try to touch Maggie in a husband-wife kind of way, he growls, and if I don't move my hand immediately, he bites me. So he gets
to sleep in bed every night.
He gets a little outside time about 3 nights a week.
There
so
you
he
go.
gets a little outside
Lock
time.
him up, Jimmy D.
I don't want to exaggerate. Twice a week. A little outside time.
I think there should be more restaurants that allow pups. I think
there
there should
to
be.
eat. I don't need dogs running around.
But happy dog day to my
This guy.
dog, Angus, who's in my house. Charlie, if you're watching, I still like you too, but Angus is my dog. Favorite dog all time. For me, it's Hot, the hot dog, and Snoop Dogg.
I mean, look, I love Chili and Bullet. Furio and Lucy made a run. I mean, Ladybird was like the best dog ever. I think everybody gets that one dog in their lifetime that like has that special connection that you never get back.
I thought it was Baxter for me, but it may be this little long-haired Dotson I've got now, Angus. We are the best thing. I mean, everybody that has dogs can relate to this. Maggie will take him on a walk. Now, he's a long-haired Dotson. He's this big, and he's that far off the ground. And in our neighborhood, outside our door, the end of the green space is probably 150 yards away. And I'll step outside if it times out right, and she'll let him off the leash. And the 150-yard sprint that he runs with those short little legs, nonstop to come running to me, that he doesn't do that to anybody else. It's amazing to watch. His ears are flying backwards. He's going so fast. The hair is going backwards. And he's exhausted when he gets there because his little legs. That has to be like a 5K run for a little Dotson.
Yeah, no offense to Angus, but the Tesla brothers both had Dachshunds, and one still got one, and they yap. I'm just not a big fan of the Dachshund.
Does he yap a lot?
He likes to be outside.
Yeah. Lance likes
And
energetic dogs. Lance likes dogs that
Well,
jump on
I
you.
like athletic dogs that are active. Yeah, I mean, I like that.
Yeah.
I like dogs that are going to jump in the pool
That's
and
right.
fetch.
Yeah,
and-
you like wild animals.
My dog will sit outside and he'll just stare at sunsets off into the horizon. Always looks into the breeze, so it's blowing his hair. But if it's a boring day in the neighborhood and there's nobody running by or riding by or walking by, he will occasionally just throw up a little bark, just 2 little quick barks, just to see if he can get any other dogs to bark back. So he stirs it up in the neighborhood. If no
That's
dog,
funny.
And inevitably, you'll start hearing another dog bark and then another dog bark. So he stirs it up. But he's a barker.
And
Absolutely.
by the way, Brown, people that are indifferent, I know you kind of dislike dogs, but
I don't
people
dislike
that are
dogs. I care nothing. I'm indifferent.
Okay, well,
completely
I was going to
indifferent.
say people that are indifferent like the dogs that do nothing. Like
Yeah.
it's almost like a piece of furniture.
Yeah, I don't want a dog that jumps on me. Absolutely not.
So I was watching the final part of The Dark Wizard. I was telling Forrester, got to watch it. So I finished it up last night when I got home from dinner. And this is the first time they introduce a relationship with his dog, Whisper. And I was just waiting for the heartbreaking moment of this
you
thing.
knew it was coming, right?
I mean,
you don't introduce the dog if something bad doesn't happen.
But the dog, so he's on a new trick now. You guys have got to watch it because I'm not into the extreme sports at all. But the bat suit where you jump off the cliff and you glide.
Yeah.
And he's going 100 miles an hour, but he's got that damn dog on it with him. The dog's got goggles. Yeah. And people are so pissed, like killing him online, social media.
What was the name of the, was it Spud, the Budweiser dog back in the day?
Spud McKenzie.
So he's got goggles on like Spud McKenzie used to have on?
Yeah, but this is legit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, going 100 miles an hour, that damn dog off a cliff.
It's crazy.
So anyway, Dark Wizard. Got to watch it. You'd love it, Tyler.
I need to watch it.
Happy Dog Day, National Dog Day out there to all that celebrate. Georgia Bulldogs have a chance to be pretty good this year.
They do. Probably the best dog in college football, the best dog mascot
it's the best
team.
Dog mascot that has a chance to win a national championship.
Yeah.
I mean, is there even another Bulldog?
Fresno State.
Yeah, but the Huskies are a dog.
Mississippi State.
Washington Huskies.
Yeah,
they've
they'd
got
probably
a chance
be
to be a
second.
playoff
Yep.
team.
I think that would be second.
Yeah.
Trying to think of any other contenders.
Northern Illinois. They're the
not a
Salukis.
playoff team.
Huskies will not get that. We talked about UConn. They're losing, head coach, offensive coordinator.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Georgia.
Tennessee technically has a dog mascot.
That's right. Tennessee.
they do.
I'd still put Washington in front of Tennessee, though.
I think I would too.
I'd have Husky in front of Smoky.
I think I would too.
Yeah.
It's close, but yeah.
Texas A&M has a
That's
collie
true.
as a
They
mascot.
got Reveille. Yeah. They're the Aggies, but they got Reveille, the dog. They're probably in front of Tennessee and Washington for me.
Yeah, out of a technicality, I would put Texas A&M number 2.
Yeah.
Uga's my favorite, but I'm biased because I had a bulldog.
I actually think Bully is a better-looking English bulldog than Uga.
Oh, that's a hot take right there. So Mississippi State's got the better live dog than Georgia does.
Uga is all white. Bully's got a little bit of color mixed in.
I think I'm with Brooks on this one. I think if you made me pick the bulldog I like better, I'd go Bully over Uga.
Now, I don't know where we are on Bully right
Bully's
now, Mississippi State, but the last one I saw in person live of him, he looked to be in better shape than the Georgia Bulldog.
Thinner.
Little thinner, like he's ready to get into a fight.
Yeah, but I think Uga's always been, overindulged, right? He lays on ice, he puts his balls up on ice, he's eating all the
That's how
time.
English bulldogs are. I'm looking at Bully now, and Bully looks like a more old English bulldog, a little longer snout, a little healthier.
Well, and he's different coloring too, so he's a lighter color, right? I mean, Uga's always got a little black in him.
Bully's got a little brown mixed in.
Tyler was such a dog expert.
Yeah, Bully looks more like my Ellie Mae.
Okay.
Than Uga does.
I think I'm with Brooks. I think of the Bulldog mascots, I like Bully more than Uga. I'd never really put any thought into this until Brooks brought it up.
Washington Husky smokes both of the Bulldogs.
I think I'm with you on that one, too. I'm not crazy about the collie at A&M.
You wouldn't like the Husky, though, because they are active and they shed.
That's a good-looking Bulldog right
You
there.
also
especially
wouldn't
down
like
south.
Yeah.
You also wouldn't like Huskies because they're very vocal. I don't know if you've seen all the TikToks.
You
of,
would like Bulldogs.
yelling.
Yeah, they're kind of quiet.
Yeah,
Bulldogs are great.
They don't do anything.
That's a good-looking dog right there. That's Bully.
Yeah, and their life expectancy is only like 8 to 10 years.
Yeah.
So.
That's a good-looking
If
dog.
you get an Old English, they live a little bit longer.
So happy National Dog Day, and we lost Dolly Parton yesterday, 80 years old. And the first thing you have to say about Dolly Parton, away from her Grammys and Golden Globe nominations and all that, was that she chose not to be a billionaire. She gave away, documented, not counting stuff we don't know about, but what we know about, she gave away over $500 million in charitable donations in her lifetime.
Well, and just such an influence to so many women. Like if you go on social media the last 12 hours, 24 hours, and it seems like 9 out of 10 girls are posting about Dolly Parton.
Yeah, not just women though, LT. The giving heart that she had. I mean, she was known as the book lady.
No, I
to
get
people.
that, but you think about how competitive women are.
Yeah.
And somebody that is a Hollywood icon, that was a great songwriter and performer. And normally women are so competitive, they don't want to give a lot of love to another woman, but everybody is like this. I mean, you talk about salt of the earth. Never heard a negative word about Dolly Parton. I didn't know she was sick. Having this conversation yesterday, you thought that it would almost be a Betty White where she would make a run to 100.
Yeah, I think she is probably, or unfortunately was now, probably, if you go approval rating of celebrities, probably the highest in the world. Like
I'd put her on some of our currency in front of some of these politicians.
The highest in the world. And think about as divided as our world is right now. If you can say that, like I would say Dolly was as close to a 100% approval rating as you could possibly get. Like there's probably somebody out there that for some reason didn't like her, and they probably are misinformed on the whole reason they don't like her. They've just made something up out of whole cloth.
No, it's a good,
I don't know why
point.
you couldn't like Dolly.
Because like Taylor Swift, there's a lot of people that hate Taylor
Sure,
Swift. There's a lot of people that love Taylor
That's right.
Swift.
She's polarizing.
But Dolly Parton, and I
She was
can't
not
think
polarizing at all.
I mean, give me somebody close in sports that's
can't.
like that.
I cannot.
Oh, there's not. Nobody doesn't, everybody will be cheering for Clemson against LSU because of everything that's going on this offseason with LSU. But not everybody will be cheering for Clemson. Some people can't do it.
That's right.
With Dolly
South Carolina
Parton,
fans.
it's hard to find anyone. Dolly Parton wrote the song "I Will Always Love You." Some may not know that. And the great story was that she loved Elvis, and Elvis wanted to record that song. And the night before Elvis was going to record that song, who was the colonel or the general?
Colonel Tom Parker.
Colonel Tom Parker said, Elvis doesn't record any song he doesn't own at least 50% of the rights to. And Dolly Parton says, that's my song. I'm not giving it. I'm not signing it over to you.
I
And he says,
respect that.
well, we're not recording it then. And then Kevin Costner in 1982, I think, came and said, I want to use this in The Bodyguard. And I want
92, yeah.
Was it 92?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think so. I think it was 82.
No,
I may be wrong.
82.
That
He
was
was.
You're right.
It was because him and Whitney.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Willie Nelson sang "I Will Always Love You" in
He
82.
did.
Yeah.
He did.
92. And Whitney Houston is going to record it if it's okay. And she's like, absolutely. She made $10 million off of the sales of the Whitney Houston version of it. And she opened an office building in a black neighborhood in Nashville and gave all $10 million to that area in Nashville. All the money that the Whitney Houston version of that song made her, she donated it to the provided for communities in Nashville.
You know, I would
not one penny off of that for her.
Went to Nashville driving up 65 last week, and for the first time, and I guess they've been around, the Dolly Parton, like almost like a Buc-ee's, but Dolly Parton. I forgot what they're called.
The Tennessee Travel Stop.
Yeah, I mean, has that been something that's been around for a while?
Yeah, they just redid it.
Okay.
They just opened that one maybe a month or so
You talking about
ago.
on Exit 22?
I don't know. I mean, I just
saw
saw it, and then I saw a couple of billboards for it, and I was like, damn, does she have a new thing going?
Yeah, I mean, whatever she touched turned to gold. Like Dollywood is spectacular from what I've heard. I've never been, but I've heard it's clean. The food is good. The rides are surprisingly good. The customer service is tremendous.
But I think it's only been 3 years since she, on Thanksgiving, performed in the Dallas Cowboy cheerleader uniform. And like at that point, I was like, damn, she's in incredible shape for almost 80 years old. Like
I think she was 78, so I think it's only been 2 years.
Did we get a cause of death?
Cancer. She had a very short battle of cancer. Yeah, unfortunately. And it kept quiet. 9 to 5, I heard yesterday. I was listening to Sirius XM Prime Country. That's my choice on Sirius XM. And
underrated comedy, by the way.
9 to 5, and they were talking about how the movie was very successful. Dabney Coleman, her, Jane Fonda, very
Lily
successful
Tomlin.
movie. But the song was so popular because of the movie that it was #1 on the Hot 100 and #1 on the country at the same time, which was fairly rare, I think, back then for a country song to be #1 in the Hot 100.
Before choosing Texas, absolutely.
Yeah. So it hit #1 on both and stayed there for a little bit. It was considered her biggest hit. Though I don't think anybody considers it her best song. It was her biggest hit. And a lot of that was because of the movie's success, too.
I saw Julia Roberts in an interview as they were promoting. It was a clip last night, an old clip, as they were promoting Steel Magnolias. And Dolly Parton was in that.
Sad movie.
It was in that. Absolutely sad. And Julia Roberts was like, it was hotter than 3 hells, paraphrasing.
Yeah, they filmed in Louisiana.
On the set. And I'm sitting there. And I've got ice packs on my legs, and somebody's fanning me and stuff. And Dolly Parton is sitting over there in that wig and makeup on, and she's got nothing. And she's like, "Dolly, it's okay if you get some ice or get somebody to fan you or something." And she was like, "I grew up dirt poor with nothing, and I've all my dreams have come true, and I'm not going to sit here and complain about being about living out my dreams." And Julia Roberts was like, "Oh, okay," and started shoving away the people that were fanning her.
Right, whatever.
I'm good. And she's like, "I never complained on set again after that."
That's funny.
So Dolly Parton at the age of 80, we lost her yesterday, and America will remember her. A lot of people flying the flags at half staff today.
And I'll tell you, I don't think we used her like Morgan Freeman does all these voiceovers, and that is a very soothing voice, but Dolly Parton's got one of the most, the sweetest.
That's right.
Like just one of those voices that would almost like put you to sleep.
Yeah, I got to get to break here, but I did see another interview where they have buried, I think it's at Dollywood, a never released song that she recorded that will be dug up on her 99th birthday in 2045.
I'll do it now.
And she had joked with him. She goes, "It's really a good song." This was in a Jimmy Fallon interview. She's like, "It's really a good song." And I've gone to him 2 or 3 times over the past year saying, "Let's pull that one out and I'll put a different one in there," because I don't know if I'll be around to see it in 2045. But so in 2045, there will be a never released, never heard Dolly Parton song coming out. Amazing American, Dolly Parton, passing away at the age of 80. This is the next round, presented by Hard Rock Bets on Sports and State. Great news for Bengal fans. Jamar Chase's injury, not that bad, a little hyperextension, but he said I could have kept playing in a little practice if it had been a game. So no extended period for Jamar Chase being out. Bad news, though, for Seattle. Their rookie safety, Bud Clark, is done for the season. Something to keep an eye on in the NFL. The exhibition week continues on tomorrow night as they do the final weekend of exhibition games in the NFL. By the way, rivalry uniforms are out. In the next round version of the show coming up in hours 3 and 4, we'll look at 8 rivalry uniforms. You guys judge them for me, A, B, C, D, or F. And it's the uniforms you can only wear once. And I think the Bears, they'll wear it on Christmas Day for theirs. So we'll look at those rivalry uniforms coming up. Before we get to some more college football here.
Such a cash grab, by the way.
Oh, it is. It is. It's a one-off uniform every year for the NFL. The show today being brought to you by the great folks at Crockett Coffee. Crockett Coffee. You can get it light roast, medium roast, dark, decaffeinated, organic, even the mushroom blend, whole bean, ground, or in those K-cups. However you make it in the morning, they've got it for you. You can set up a subscription, and it shows up on schedule. Change it or cancel it anytime you want as the free market intended. Free shipping on orders of $59 or more, and there's a discount for veterans all the time. And Crockett partners with Tunnel to Towers, building mortgage-free homes for the families of fallen service members and those injured veterans and first responders. It's good coffee made in America, doing some good as well. Started by Clay Travis, Buck Sexton, and Buck's brother, Mason, named after Davy Crockett, as you can see in the logo right there. It is CrockettCoffee.com, CrockettCoffee.com. That's Crockett, CROCKETT, CrockettCoffee.com.
I did see that Davy Crockett, I don't know if he really wore the coonskin hat.
Oh, no.
Him and Daniel Boone both.
Oh.
Well, there were people, I think it was Whitlow, on Hutner and Whitlow here on Sport and State. They did Withrow, my bad, did a Mount Rushmore of Tennesseans, and Davy Crockett and Dolly Parton were on there.
Oh, okay.
All right. Peyton Manning?
I don't know who the other two were.
I'd go Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
Well, of course, he's not from Tennessee.
Yeah, I mean, Dolly Parton and, I guess Davy Crockett would. I mean, who else would be there from Tennessee?
I don't know. I got to remember who's born there.
Well, I guess if Clay is your boss, you would put Clay.
we ain't putting Clay on the Mount Rushmore at Tennessee. Now, Clay would put himself on the Mount Rushmore at Tennessee.
Absolutely. Hey, good news for Alabama on the injury front. Chris Lowe on 3 Sports reporting that A.K. Deere, and I think we've said this on the show a couple of times, will be back at the end of September in time for that Georgia game. He's dealing with an ankle injury. You've heard some loose reports. Maybe it did a little tightrope surgery there on him, but an ankle injury. But they do expect him back for the October-November part of the schedule for sure. E.J. Crowell, not going to rush him back, Kalen DeBoer says to Chris Lowe on 3 Sports, but it's an ankle as well. They expect him to be full go by the time Alabama plays at Kentucky in week 2. That it sounds like they could have him ready for East Carolina and may choose not to play him in that.
This is getting somewhat dicey because the only explosive back you had last year was Deere, and he was obviously the small little nuances. He wasn't prepared to play more meaningful snaps because he hadn't gotten those yet, and you were hoping that you could break him and Crowell in against East Carolina, right, and get ready for Kentucky, another what should be kind of a tune-up game for Florida State. And as you get into this, if you don't have Deere back until Georgia, is he going to be able to be even productive?
Yeah, end of September is what Chris Lowe is reporting. That may give him time to get a game under his belt or 2 before they get to Georgia, which I think is early October, correct? By the way, Noah Rogers, who we thought maybe wouldn't be back until very late in the season, he also could be back late September in time for the Georgia game.
That's a remarkable recovery because, and for those that don't know, he's the receiver that transferred into Alabama, and a lot of people thought he could compete for that 3rd spot with whoever it is going to be in that 3rd spot that is not Lottie Brooks and Ryan Coleman Williams. You know, there are a lot of people that just gave it to Sadarian Morgan, who is a tremendous talent, apparently. A 5-star guy, highly recruited. There are a lot of people, and anytime Kalen DeBoer has talked about the receiver spot. Derek Meadows' name continues to come up, the big 6'5" receiver. So he's apparently had a tremendous fall camp. But I think initially a lot of people thought it would be Noah Rogers, and then he got hurt in the spring. And I think the expectation for a lot of people was you might see him in November. Yeah. Maybe the November games he's able to come back and catch a few balls. Boy, if he's back earlier than that, that'd be a heck of a gift.
And Lottie Brooks is good to go, ready to go. Could play Saturday if it was good to go. So that's good for Alabama.
Yeah, that was kind of what DeBoer had indicated is that, he'll be back. I think it's one of those guys, what he can do if he's a little banged up, you let him heal.
I wonder how excited Alabama fans are going into the season.
Well, I think the Keelon Russell announcement.
The reason I bring this up is I'm looking
at a fire.
I do. I think it did.
This might not be an indicator of anything, but the first game is East Carolina coming up. You can get tickets as low as $14.
Yeah.
And just looking at, do you think that the most expensive ticket for Alabama is a home ticket or a road ticket?
Oh, it's easily
I'd say home Georgia.
I would say road ticket Tennessee
or LSU.
Road ticket Tennessee is by far the biggest, $367 get-in. Georgia at home is only $107. I mean, Vanderbilt's at Vanderbilt $229 get-in, at LSU $242. Just these home games, there's not a lot of demand right now. I don't know what that means.
You said it.
First of all, it means it's a 100,000 seat stadium. That first game is Saturday at 11 a.m.
Okay,
and it's against East Carolina. Where what's the point spread?
Oh, it's massive. But Georgia is only $107, and a week later in a 100,000 seat Neyland, it's $367. I'm saying there's just not a lot of demand for Alabama home tickets right now.
Yeah.
So that's the Alabama injury report from Chris Lowe. We'll talk about some other quarterbacks coming up in the next hour. You'll hear from Josh Heupel on Faizon Brandon, what he did to win the job. John Summerall on Aaron Philo down at Florida. Sark on Arch Manning. And Ryan Grubb on Keelon Russell. We talk quarterbacks when we come back on the next round, presented by Hard Rock Bets right here on Sport and State. Hour number 2 of the next round, presented by Hard Rock Bets here on Sport and State. We're about to talk some quarterbacks in the SEC and have a little fun with some sound from coaches around the conference as we get ready for week 0 and week 1. No SEC teams, right, playing in week 0. That is correct.
That is
correct.
accurate.
Yeah.
Maybe a future one.
Maybe a future one. Which one is the future? Florida State?
Well, I would say
North Carolina,
NC State, or Virginia, North Carolina.
I mean,
could
we've
see
only got
any of those teams being in this.
one Big Ten team playing this weekend.
That's right.
That's USC.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
USC get a little sneak peek at them on NBC, 2 o'clock with week 0. 72 hours away from those games. We're getting really close
That's
to
crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm
start
trying to
of the
plan out
season.
my Saturday. Are you guys just all immersed on the couch all day Saturday?
Yep.
My daughter has a soccer game. Other than that, yes.
Yep. I've got nothing planned. I've actually canceled golf because each window has a set of games to watch.
As Brett McMurphy pointed out at On 3 today, Saturday we embark on the longest college football season we've ever lived in, which is great for me. Like, that's not a bad news. That's great. The more the merrier. But this will be the longest college football season we've ever lived in.
You know what? Also, we'll have the longest NFL season.
That's right, which is great for me. I'll take all of that.
I will send a graphic to Forrester here for maybe the next segment. I think it was Crawford with CBS maybe, or maybe it was Bud Elliott. One of them put together the 5 Saturdays to not get your ass off the couch.
Okay. I would say it's all of them, but I'll hear their 5.
Yeah, I'm going to believe September 19th is probably our first of those.
November 7th, we all know, is the big one.
Yeah.
So we'll show you the other ones coming up. But let's talk quarterbacks here. This part of the next round brought to you by Hard Rock Bets here on Sport and State. Let's start with Tennessee. The quarterback battle there ends with Faizon Brandon being QB1. Here's Josh Heupel on naming him the quarterback.
She said Faizon starter week 1. Do you anticipate this being the long-term decision, or is this a week-to-week evaluation?
Every position is week to week. We named him the starter because we believe in the work that he has put in and how he's continued to grow and play throughout training camp and the second week through the second scrimmage. He's earned that right, but just like every position, you can consistently evaluate.
Okay, so the Brandon expectations at Tennessee is what? What do you need from him? Now, keep in mind, I had the list yesterday.
It's part of my crystal ball coming up, by the way.
Okay, Josh Heupel. And we'll get that in this segment because I'm interested to see those stats. Josh Heupel's quarterbacks, help me out. They've been Joe Milton, Hendon Hooker, then Joe Milton again.
Nico and Joey Aguilar.
Here's the thing. You had to leave early on Monday, and we discussed this. All those quarterbacks that you just mentioned, except for Aguilar, were low single-digit interceptions. Aguilar threw 10.
Yep.
And I don't know if this is on Lance's crystal ball, but I think if you're Faizon Brandon, that is number one. You got to reduce the turnovers. 10 turnovers. Everybody, when I say Joey Aguilar interceptions, give me the play you immediately think about. It's the interception at the end of the half against Alabama. And those were the types of plays that frustrated you. Like, they've got a chance to go in and score right there. That's a one-possession game going into the locker room at Bryant-Denny. Maybe it's not the best play call. You can argue about that, but you can't make the throw Aguilar made on that play call. And he throws what ends up being a 100-yard pick six by Xavier Brown. Alabama never looks back, and you lose that game. That's step one with Faizon Brandon. You've got to get back to the low single digits interceptions that the Josh Heupel quarterbacks, all but Aguilar, have had.
Yeah.
That's number one.
Is his style of play, do you expect it to be more like Hendon Hooker than Joey Aguilar? I mean, Aguilar was a quick fix, right? They had to get him.
They had to have him, yeah.
But this guy was recruited by Heupel. Hooker they picked up where Virginia Tech's where he was before that. They recruited Nico Amalieva. So I would imagine he's got a skill set that the ability to run in that Heupel offense. They spread you out so much, and then you got a great running back in Bishop. To have the quarterback as an occasional a willing runner, that adds something to the attack.
Well, and you also have Braylon Staley coming back, so you've got really good wide receiver along with Deshaun Bishop in that backfield. I don't know what to expect. I just expect Tennessee to score points and put up big numbers. They always do. It doesn't really matter who the quarterback is.
Tyler, cut 4 now, please. If you can get me Steve Sarkisian. He gets asked about Arch Manning, where Arch is going to this season. I really can't imagine the pressure of being Arch Manning. And there's a lot of pressure on Sark coaching Arch Manning, but the two seem to have a good relationship.
For a second-year starter, fourth-year quarterback, is Arch where you wanted to be right now? Do you have any concerns about where he's at?
Oh, he's had a great camp, man. I'm pumped about it. I think his rapport with Ryan and Cam and Emmett is really high. I think his rapport with our running backs is really high. I mean, those guys are good players and they can catch the ball, and that takes timing, that takes rapport. And so I'm very excited. I'm excited for him. I think he's going to play really well. Again, we got 2 more weeks to continue to sharpen up, but I'm very excited for where he's at and the type of camp he's had.
Do you really think Arch is sitting in New York as one of the 4 finalists for the Heisman?
I do. And he is in my crystal ball for Texas.
Okay, coming up. Big stat there for him.
I mean, if he is sitting there, I don't know how this Texas team is not.
Oh, if he's one of the 4.
At least in the semifinals, if not playing for the national championship.
It's going to be really difficult for Texas with their firepower to miss the college football playoff. Now, a lot of personnel on that defense that Will Muschamp will take over. There is going to be a lot of attrition there, but I just think this offense is going to be so good. We know how good Ryan Wingo is. We know the potential of Cam Coleman. The 2 best backs, arguably the 2 best backs in the portal, in Raleek Brown and Hollywood Smothers, both went to Texas. And you saw how Arch played in the second half of the season. He also mentioned Emmett Mosley as that 3rd wide receiver. I mean, it's just they have so much freaking talent.
They really do. And a manageable schedule, relatively speaking. A tough schedule for Texas compared to their first 2 in the SEC, but still not overwhelming. Down in Gainesville, John Sumrall on what Aaron Philo did to win that job down there, a guy that they're really pumped about.
Yeah, I would say operate at the line of scrimmage at just a touch higher level and be more efficient. There's no surprise to that in spring because he had been in the system and Trammell had not. Trammell has improved a ton, but I still think we're able to operate the full offense at a little bit higher level right now with Aaron and with the whole package. And so that's probably the biggest separator. Their arm talent, Edgar, is very similar. There's not like what's unique is both of them's play style resembles each other more than it differentiates each other. They're kind of similar players, arm talent wise, running ability. They're similar-ish, like on the GPS numbers. They're about the same speed. So I would say it's probably the biggest differentiating factor. It's just been being able to maybe get us into the right call, out of the wrong call, check things, alert things, kill things off of defensive pictures, and then maybe see the middle of the field a little bit more in the throw game. But there's both guys have done a lot of great things, but that's probably been the biggest difference. It's just operation.
And that's because Philo came with his offensive coordinator, Buster Faulkner, from Georgia Tech, so he's been in the system. But don't sleep on these Florida wide receivers. Vernell Brown, Dallas Wilson, and Eric Singleton. That's a good trio right there of talent. And you got one of the better running backs in the country, in Baugh back.
Yeah, Jaden Baugh, yeah.
And Singleton was also with Buster Faulkner at Georgia Tech before he went to Auburn, so there is some familiarity there. And I thought he would have a tremendous year at Auburn last year. I didn't know Auburn was not going to be able to throw the football to anybody. I thought they were going to throw it to Eric Singleton a lot, and he was going to have a good year. I'm going to double down on it, Lance. I think Eric Singleton will be a playmaker for the Florida Gators.
Should be, but I am not going to bite on a Florida quarterback. I haven't seen good quarterback play for Florida since Kyle Trask. And, we got burned on DJ Lagway, how good he was going to be. I mean, almost 1-to-1 touchdowns to interceptions, 14 picks last year for Lagway. So inconsistent. I don't believe in Philo. We'll see how good he's going to be. And if he's really good, then Florida can be, not only a surprise in the SEC, they can be one of the national surprises.
Can I say one more thing, though? It's interesting to hear. We've already heard it with Kalen DeBoer this week with Keelon Russell. You just heard it there with John Sumrall with Philo, and then also Heupel, thank you very much, with Faizon Brandon. How careful they have to be when they answer these questions, because they know these are probably all tight quarterback races, and the backup, the guy that's the backup now, could be playing anytime. And you heard all of them just kind of tap dance around so they don't make it sound like this was a blowout. Basically, guys, I got 2 starters. I've just got to pick one, is what they're saying.
But I do think in a lot of those situations, that's probably the case.
It probably is. I mean, these were probably all that close.
Here's Ryan Grubb, Alabama's offensive coordinator, on Keelon Russell's confidence as a sophomore, listed as a sophomore, who's getting ready to make his first start against East Carolina?
Well, two things with Keelon. I've always thought he's a very confident kid, but at the same time, I think there's people that present as confident, and there's people that are authentic, and I think that's the part for Keelon. Just stressing to him, just keep being yourself, and that's really what draws his teammates to him, is that he's an authentic guy. The enthusiasm, the confidence is all real, and when he doesn't know, he's not too ego-driven to ask. And those are the things I think that draw his teammates to him.
So a confident guy and a guy who's not afraid to, and this is why I always thought it was a close competition. He's not afraid to throw it into some tight windows, which occasionally will turn the football over. It'll be an interception. There's a difference between an interception and a tight window when you've got to throw it on 3rd down or 4th down, and just a bad read interception that could cost you the football game. There's some situations you got to have the confidence enough to throw it into a tight window to give you a chance to move the chains.
I don't know about you guys, but if you listed 1 through 4 your concerns offensively, Keelon Russell would be my least concern on this offense.
Yeah, and in fact, LT, so much so that I start wondering how much he can help 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, so I would go, and you guys jump in whenever, offensive line, biggest concern.
That's number 1.
I would go running backs, number 2. I would go wide receivers, number 3, and then I would go Keelon Russell, number 4.
I said this back in the spring. So much more RPO this year for Alabama, something they haven't done since Kalen DeBoer got there as much.
Wide receiver and quarterback go so hand in hand. So this is a difficult thing to say, but
Ty Simpson was so much better than the receivers last year.
He was, but I expect Ryan Coleman-Williams to have a bounce-back season. I expect him this year to look much more like he played his freshman year. I think Lottie Brooks, sky is the limit for this guy. I think he can be fantastic. And I am almost to the point, because I used to say if Sadarian Morgan is what everybody says he is, this will be the best receiving core in the Southeastern Conference. But I'm almost willing to say right now, what I've seen and heard about Derek Meadows, some of these other guys, I think they're just fine at receiver. Like, that is, I might even put that 4th and Keelon Russell 3rd in my list right there.
I mean,
but again, they go so hand in hand.
Yeah, I would go receivers 3rd. I mean, I think right now the big question mark is, can Alabama run the football? It starts with that offensive
your
line
1
and
and 2. Your 1 and 2 are spot on to me. Offensive line and running backs, and again, those almost go hand in hand.
LT's got some crystal ball stats that could help some SEC contenders. We'll get to that right now, but a reminder, our kickoff party, our 5th anniversary party, kicking off another football season, our 6th season as a show, is tomorrow night at Walk-Ons here locally on Highway 280 here in Birmingham. You can go out and enjoy some great beer specials with our friends at Budweiser and Bud Light.
Yeah, $3 pints tomorrow night, $2 long necks. We're going to have Hoover QR code for you, get you home safely. The 5th anniversary kickoff party brought to you by our friends at Bud Light, Alexander Shunnarah. Shunnarah will be there as well, giving out some Pappy. It's going to be a ton of fun, live music, great specials, food, giveaways, everything tomorrow night, 5 o'clock until that's at the Walk-Ons Tattersall Park.
All right, so to set this up, you've got a stat looking into your crystal ball that if an SEC team hits this one, their season goes much better.
I believe I've got 8 contenders. I think there's only 8 teams that realistically can get to an SEC championship game this year.
Okay.
There might be surprises in first-year guys like John Summerall or maybe an Alex Golesh, but I believe there are 8 teams that could actually get to Atlanta first week of December. And if they hit these marks, I think there's a good chance they're there.
Okay.
I'll start with Tennessee just because we brought it up. Faizon Brandon has got to keep the turnovers in single digits. If you go back, if you look at the end of the year and he has got 9 or less interceptions, I think Tennessee's in a really good spot. Jim Knowles taking over that defense. You've got a 1,000-yard rusher coming back into Sean Bishop. Heupel's 2 best teams in 2022. I still don't know how they didn't stick the landing and get to a 14 playoff. That team was so freaking good, and Hendon Hooker only threw 2 picks the entire year. And then a team I didn't think was really good, but they could run the football and play great defense, was 2024, where they get to a college football playoff, ultimately get blown out by Ohio State. But Nico was your quarterback, only 5 picks. limit the turnovers in that offense, you win a lot of games. That would be Tennessee.
And the way they spread it out, it should be some easy reads for Faizon to help it out. You know, Byron Brown will be playing the same offense at Auburn. Ironically, a respected defensive coordinator with DJ down at Auburn, like you've got now with Jim Knowles at Tennessee. You don't expect Heupel to slow it down or play towards his defense. He's going to keep playing the same style.
But if I could add to that stat, Hendon Hooker had 5 total interceptions in 2 years.
2 years is crazy.
And last year they had 10. So, I mean, you've got to cut that number down. I mean, 5 interceptions is 2 combined seasons. It's nuts. They just did not turn the ball over.
When this came down to McIntyre or Brandon, I'm sure that was what factored in the most for Heupel, is who's going to protect the football. You guys give me another one of these 7. You can just call out a team.
Okay, let's go Georgia.
The Georgia Bulldogs get back to attacking the quarterback. I think if you look up and they've got 35-plus sacks, Georgia, I mean, look, they're going to be there anyway. But I think Georgia is going to be a dominant Georgia team again. If you look at last year, 20 sacks for Glenn Schumann's unit. They gave up 20 sacks offensively. That is an extremely low number. If you just go back the previous 4 years, they averaged 37 sacks per year. If you go back to the national championships in back-to-back years, those 2 seasons, they averaged 42 sacks per game. That's more than double the production they had last year. And they were still one of the best teams in college football. If they can get back to the 35-plus sacks, this will be a dominant unit.
But it's not just sacks, Brownie. Kirby Smart, when he was in Tuscaloosa with Nick Saban, and he's carried this saying over, and he said it last year a couple of times, it's not just sacks, it's pressuring the quarterback. You may not get an official sack, but if you impact him, making him throw sooner, that helps the defense. So it may not be technically a sack, but at least a pressure on the quarterback. That was off a little bit last year as well.
20, though, but in their last, it was. The
tremendous drop.
20 is a tremendous drop. Their previous low of the last 6 years was 37. I mean, 17 below what their previous low was. I don't know what happened there.
And that's why I believe they can get it back to that 35 number, and I think they've got the best opportunity to get the SEC back in that national championship conversation.
Okay, Brownie, pick a team.
LSU, they need to identify a 1,000-yard rusher. Like the last LSU Tiger to rush for 1,000 yards, any ideas? I'd be very surprised if you guys can get this.
Jaden Daniels? Was that who it was?
Last running back.
Okay.
Last running back to do it. It's going to be the Fournette.
It's not Fournette.
Was it Clyde Edwards-Helaire in 2019?
Tyrion Davis-Price. It was in 2023, so it wasn't long ago. But if you look at Lane Kiffin's offenses in Oxford, and those were great offenses, you always had a 1,000-yard rusher. 3 of the last 4 years in Oxford, they had a 1,000-plus yard rusher. Last year, Caden Durham led the LSU Tigers with 505 yards. LSU just averaged 3.6 yards per carry. You've got Harlem Berry, who was a little disappointing in his, a 5-star freshman season. But between Harlem Berry, Caden Durham, identify who that 1,000-yard rusher is going to be to complement Sam Levitt.
Let's go Texas.
Texas, for me, it's simple. Road Arch has got to be better. If you go back and you look at Road Arch last year, Arch Manning on the road. Ohio State, they lose 14-7. 17-30, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Florida, they lose 29-21, 16-29, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. Kentucky, they win the game 16-13 overtime, 12 of 27.
12 completions. That's just
0 touchdowns. Mississippi State, 45-38 in overtime. They win the game. All the numbers were padded in the second half with that comeback. He was 29-46, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick. And then the 35-10 loss to Georgia, 27-43, 1-1, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Sacked 23 times last year. 18 sacks were on the road. He has got to play better on the road, which I believe he will. You talk about the pressure on Arch. I think there was more pressure last year, and it really showed on the road. But if Arch can play much better football on the road, Texas will, be really, really good.
Oh, really, really good. That's a remark. I had not thought of that, but now as I go back and think of all those games, I'm like, yeah, you're right. He was terrible on the road. The State game is the one that looks good, but as you said in the first half, he was awful against State. That was all second half yardage, so there was still an issue there playing on the road.
They really shouldn't have survived either Kentucky or State.
No, absolutely not. It's so fortunate to win both those.
Pick another contender, Brownie. We've done Tennessee, Georgia, LSU, and Texas.
Oklahoma. Lance loves him some Sooners this year. Let's see what he's got on Oklahoma.
I hate to go back to the quarterback, but I will. Mateer's got to be better. If you look at year 1 in the SEC, and we can say it was the thumb injury, and it probably was, but the fact of the matter, his complete game, dual threat quarterback, only 22 total touchdowns. If you go back to his final year at Wazoo, 44 touchdowns at Wazoo. Let's split the difference. If you can tell me John Mateer has 33-plus total touchdowns, and I think that is very doable with some of the skill that he's got coming back, and even adding a guy like Terrell Harris out of West Virginia, a guy like Parker Livingstone out of Texas. If he can get to that 33 number in year 2 under Ben Arbuckle, Oklahoma's going to be in a great spot.
It's more than double what he threw last year. That'd be a significant improvement. I mean, he threw 14 touchdowns last year.
I'm just talking about 33 total touchdowns.
33 total.
Split the difference. 22 last year total, 44 2 years ago at Wazoo.
Okay.
Let's get it in the middle. Let's get it around 30-plus,
All right.
and I think Oklahoma's in a great spot.
I'm not blown away by Arbuckle's play calling.
Well, some people pointed at that as where Mateer started to slip, that it was less about the thumb injury and more about Arbuckle got really predictable. There were some
the best defensive minds in the country.
That's right.
Got a lot more tape on it.
The SEC team, once they got some tape on that offense, at Oklahoma and out at Washington State, they had it dialed in.
I don't disagree, but you guys will also give me a bad offensive line can make your play calls look a lot
they
worse.
They couldn't run. Yeah. They were Alabama West. They just simply could not run the football.
And when we get to Alabama, I'll get to that point.
But Alabama had a better quarterback, and that's what bailed Alabama out.
Yes.
I mean, if Ty Simpson had been playing at Oklahoma, they probably are slightly better.
Well, let's do Alabama.
Alabama's got to get up a full yard of production on the ground. 3.4 yards per carry in 2025. Saban's last year, they were at 4.3. The last national championship, they averaged 5 yards a carry in 2020. Only Oklahoma and Alabama made the college football playoff with less than 4 yards a carry. The other 10 playoff teams averaged over 4.2 yards per carry. If Alabama can get it up from 3.4 to 4.4 per carry, Alabama's going to be a great spot.
Yeah, I mean,
can they do that? I don't know. That doesn't seem like a high bar, does it?
Again, your two biggest concerns on Alabama's offense are offensive line and running back. What impacts the run game the most? Offensive line and running back's two biggest concerns. So, have they fixed that? Who knows? That being the offensive line.
That is a pathetic number, though, 3.4 yards per carry. But it's also amazing that Kalen DeBoer and Ty Simpson were able to get that team, and I got to give credit to, obviously, what Alabama did defensively. But 3.4 yards per carry is pathetic.
I will say this. I think, and think is all I'm willing to say, I think Alabama has fixed the running back room. Now, there's injuries there, so, that's going to impact that, right? But I think they fixed the running back room.
To your point that your offensive line may have done a good enough job if your running backs could hit holes timely with the right matter, choosing the right running path, maybe the production would have been a little bit better.
Yeah, my point, and you're right about that, but my point actually was there was an issue at running back room, and I think they fixed it. I don't know if they fixed offensive line. We won't know until we see it. I mean, a coaching change there is what they hope is, and there's going to be some new bodies there, obviously, but some of those bodies went on to the NFL. It's not like they were bums. They're hoping the coaching changes fixed it.
Your turn to pick, Brownie.
I don't know what we're down to.
You've got A&M and Ole Miss.
Let me hear A&M.
A&M, I've said this all summer, Marcel Reed has got to take it up a letter grade. He's got to be better. Better than a 1-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio against top 25, specifically top 10s. You look at last year against top 25 teams, 6 touchdowns, 7 picks. If we focus on their 2 losses against the only 2 top 10 teams they played to end the season against both Texas and Miami, 0 touchdowns in those 2 games and 4 picks.
Yeah, I mean, if Forster had the Texas A&M scheduled up right now, we could almost pick out the games that Marcel would struggle in, because he seems to struggle in the biggest games late in the year.
Yeah,
and this year the ending for Texas A&M is so hard. November Marcel has to be so much better.
Yeah, and unfortunately there is going to be an excuse if Marcel isn't. It's going to be Colin Klein is taking over Kansas State, and you've got a new, and Holman Wiggins, a new offensive coordinator, taking over and calling the plays for the Aggies. But Marcel Reed, there's no excuse. Like Marcel Reed, he had the reins last year. They had a fantastic regular season. They got to a college football playoff. They hosted a game, but he was awful in both of those games against Texas and Miami. He's got to be better in those spots.
He couldn't push the ball down the field either late. I mean, his yards per attempt against Texas and Miami were 5.6 and 6.1.
Awful.
And then the last one is Ole Miss.
So Ole Miss was the number 2 overall offense in college football in 2025. Trinidad Chambliss didn't start the first couple of games, but in 13 starts, he had almost 4,500 total yards. I think if he can just get from start to finish back to around that 4,500 total yard mark, doesn't have that sophomore slump, so to speak, Ole Miss is going to be right there back in the mix.
One of the biggest storylines in college football I don't think anybody's talking about is the loss of coordinators at some contenders. Oregon lost both of theirs.
That's right.
Ohio State lost their offensive coordinator. Ole Miss lost their play caller, man. And that's a big storyline for me. Is it Joe Judge that's going to call play as part of the process?
That's what everybody assumes. But, you know, in a sense, they lost their defensive coordinator, too. I mean, I know he's still on the staff, but he's the head coach now.
That's right.
And I don't know that Pete Golding's going to call the defensive signals. So, I mean, in a sense, they lost both coordinators. Even though he's still there, he's doing something different.
See, I like Georgia. They got both their coordinators with Kirby. I like Alabama. They still got their coordinators. But, there's some of these we've lost some key parts. So what can they do?
It eventually caught up with Clemson, but we saw year in, year out, Dabo started to lose those coordinators. You saw it with Alabama at Nick Saban. And, you know, some of these programs can just survive. Like, I just assume that Oregon's going to be fine without both Tosh Lupoi going to Cal now and Will Stein going to Kentucky. But, I mean, it is a point to look at. And I do think this Ole Miss offense, I mean, the great news is you got Kewan Lacey and Trinidad Chambliss back. But it is going to – the identity seems so different.
Yeah, there is a nuance to calling plays. That's crystal ball stats from Lance. Great job there on 8 key stats with 8 contenders that could make them national champion or conference championship contenders. When we come back, I don't think I remember Vince Young's ending at Tennessee with the Titans this way. But there's a whole Netflix documentary out. Basically, it's Vince Young versus their head coach back in his day, Jeff Fisher. Pretty alarming comments in this documentary. We'll talk about that next, right here on The Next Round, presented by Hard Rock Bets on Sport and State. Netflix has a documentary out, and it's involving Vince Young and Jeff Fisher, and it's called Untold, The Testimony of Vince Young, a documentary that gives you a behind-the-curtain looks at the infamous internal conflict between a young star quarterback and a grizzled head coach. Jeff Fisher says in the documentary, Bud Adams was obsessed and consumed with drafting Vince. To take you back then, Norm Chow was the offensive coordinator in Tennessee. He wanted to go Matt Leinart with the 3rd overall pick.
Yeah, and I remember saying this and was completely wrong. I thought they should have gone Matt Leinart too.
Jeff Fisher wanted to go with Jay Cutler.
That would have been the best option.
Yeah, of those 3, that turned out to be the best NFL career by far, really.
And the owner, Bud Adams, wanted to go with Vince Young, mainly because, according to the documentary, Bud Adams hated the mayor of Houston, Mayor Bob Lanier. It had gotten so contentious between Bud Adams when he couldn't get a new stadium deal in Houston, and ended up moving the franchise to Nashville in 1997. And Bud Adams was like, this is the quote. Adams allegedly said, "We're drafting Vince because I want to see the bitch jump," end quote.
Wow.
And that's what was said in there.
Yeah.
So Vince Young gets there, and he and Jeff Fisher apparently just never got along. Like, he was late. He says, "I've only got a few rules. And one of them, you can't be late for the team bus or team plane."
That's a fair rule.
Yeah, I would say.
Yeah.
We don't want. Yeah.
Vince Young says he got caught behind a funeral procession, couldn't pass, and is pulling up to the airport for, I think it was an exhibition game they were leaving for. And in the documentary, he says, "I can see them just starting. They see me, and I'm getting out of the car, and they start closing the door on me. And I can hear the team yelling from inside the plane, 'There he is, there he is, there he is.'" And Fisher goes ahead and closes the gate, and they leave without him. And it just becomes a tremendous battle. They get into the documentary.
No more of this 8-8 bullshit.
That's right. We ain't got a quarterback.
They get into the documentary, and they say, "Listen, there was a day they couldn't find Vince Young after a loss, and Young just wasn't returning texts. He was taking the loss bad. And he comes to practice on Monday, and Fisher according to Jeff Fisher, he's worried about Vince Young, that he was so depressed that he may have harmed himself. And so they've got a police department negotiator there who takes the wallet and keys away and is sitting down with Vince Young outside the football building, talking, as Vince describes in the documentary, really slow. "Vince, are you okay?" And Vince says there's a camera crew hidden in the bushes over there from a local TV station. Vince Young believes it was a total Jeff Fisher setup. He said, "This guy's questioning me, giving me questions, and I keep looking over at Jeff Fisher like, you could shut this down anytime you want to, and you're just letting this go on, embarrassing me outside the football building so the TV cameras could get it." Now, that's Vince Young's side of the story.
There are 3 sides to every story, right?
Right. The truth will be somewhere in the middle of that.
You guys were out one day when I had Jeff Fisher on the show.
I do remember that.
He was such a good interview. I've always been a Jeff Fisher fan until he took the Rams over. He seemed to get really lazy in those last couple of years in the NFL. But I knew it was contentious, but I always thought he's a pretty good coach with the Titans. I mean, obviously got to a Super Bowl. McNair almost pulled that one out of his ass.
He got a lot out of Steve McNair, don't you think? I mean,
if anybody that's interested in Jeff Fisher stories, I can't make this up. Chad Withrow and Jonathan Hutton, the morning guys on Sport and State that will be in town tomorrow, they have some they've hung out with Jeff Fisher. They have some incredible Jeff Fisher stories.
Yeah, I'd like to hear what they think of this Netflix documentary.
Yeah, and I bet they've seen it, just based on the players.
That was a terrible quarterback draft, though, by the way.
Terrible.
There was. I was just looking back at that draft. I was like, all right, let's just play the revisionist history and say who the Titans should have taken. There was Cutler. That was the best quarterback. Here are the rest of them in that draft.
But real quick, did you guys not believe both Vince Young and Matt Leinart were can't miss?
I get sucked into almost all the quarterbacks.
I did too, but I mean, they were so freaking good in college.
I mean, your draft that year, Jim, was Vince Young, Matt Leinart, Jay Cutler, first round. They were all top 11 picks. Second round, Kellen Clemens, Tavares Jackson. Remember the Alabama State player, Minnesota? He got some action in Minnesota and Seattle.
Started a playoff game.
Yeah. Third round, Charlie Whitehurst, Brody Crowell out of Alabama, went to Kansas City, got starts, never won a game.
Charlie Whitehurst started a playoff game for a 7-9 Seattle team.
Fourth round, Brad Smith out of Missouri. Fifth round, Ingle Martin out of Furman. Omar Jacobs out of Bowling Green. Sixth round, Reggie McNeil, Bruce Gradkowski, and then our buddy DJ Shockley. Shock was the Falcons pick in the 7th round. I mean, there was not a quarterback that did anything in the league.
Gradkowski hung on for a while as a backup.
That was a terrible draft to need a quarterback. Terrible draft.
If I ask you franchises that you just aren't buying into, and then ones that you are buying into in the next 3 years in the NFL, I'll just start with the Titans. 3 years from now. 3 years from now, what are the Titans?
I told you, I said this back in the summer. I would buy Titan stock right now. I think they're an ascending franchise. I like Robert Saleh. I think Saleh was just in a tough spot with the Jets. Who has won as the Jets coach? They never have a good quarterback. They're just a mess of a franchise. I think Saleh is a good coach. I was high on Cam Ward, and I'm not going to make all my decisions based on preseason, but boy, he's been bad in his second preseason.
I like Cam Ward, and I thought he would be really good, and he still might be good. I just don't see a lot of skill there. We kind of went through the receiver position yesterday. Wan'Dale Robinson, you've got Calvin Ridley there, and you've obviously got Cornell Tate, who has yet to catch a pass in the preseason. I don't like the running backs. I would hold on the Titans.
Yep, I'll probably ball too early,
but I would not buy there.
Okay, so give me somebody you would buy in the next 3 years.
I would buy
you love.
I would buy the Chicago Bears. I saw enough for Caleb Williams in crunch time when big plays mattered. Now, he's all over the place, the first 3 quarters, but I do think that'll settle down a little bit under Ben Johnson. I think Luther Burden's going to be really good when he comes back from the injury. Colston Loveland is one of the best tight ends in the NFL. So I think year 2, Ben Johnson, they might not have the same record. They might take a step back in the NFC North, but I think eventually in the next 3 years, they are going to be a major player in the NFC.
Brownie, who are you buying next 3 years in the NFL?
I want to buy the Atlanta Falcons. I really do want to buy the Atlanta Falcons. My problem with buying the Falcons, and I'm almost still willing to buy, I think Stefanski, again, has never had a quarterback. I think he's a good coach. I think they've got so many good offensive parts, but they're not good at quarterback right now. But I think they're going to have to draft that. I think they'll give up on Penix. Tua was never going to be long-term. I think they're going to draft quarterback, and this is a gamble when you're having to draft quarterback, and especially the Falcons getting it right. I'll buy the Atlanta Falcons in the next 3 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
For me, I've got 2, but I'll go with one. I mean, the other one's already good. I don't think the Texans are going anywhere. They'll stay. So I'll keep buying the Texans.
Yeah,
the next 3 years.
I agree. Stroud is not as bad as his worst moments last year. If he gets back to what he was as the AFC Rookie of the Year 2 years ago or 3 years ago, I think they're going to be just fine. They're going to continue to build weapons for him. That defense is going nowhere. D'Amico Ryans is one of the better young, energetic coaches in football, and the Texans have yet to be to even an AFC championship game. I think that's the next step. I think they're going to be just fine.
Yeah, but the one I'll throw into our conversation, to me, is the New York Giants. I believe Harbaugh is that good of a coach, and I think he will build a culture there that will eventually, 3 years from now, be a winning football team.
If they get offensive line right and they can avoid some of the injuries that they couldn't last year with Scatterbo and Malik Neighbors. We went through their skill yesterday. We talked about the guys on the defensive front that can attack. I agree with you. I think New York's got a bright future. I'd also throw the Chargers in there. Getting a former head coach in Mike McDaniel. I know it didn't work out in Miami.
No, but he's a great play caller.
Yeah, guy, the way he can scheme, especially on the ground, I think Hampton's going to be a fantastic back. He talks about we've got 3 backs this year, so it's not good for fantasy owners. Once Herbert busts through and wins a playoff game, watch out. And I think Harbaugh's a really, really good coach.
So 2 Harbaughs in the conversation there. So that's teams we're buying in the next future. The final segment of the show today, we're going to do what we did with the SEC yesterday. We're going to give you Big Ten teams' first losses. The contenders in the Big Ten. We'll look at the schedules and do the first losses. The show being brought to you in part by our friends at Clay Travis Law. Clay Travis Law, tell them about them.
Yes, Clay Travis Law, they are there for you. A lot of times you can't really trust or lean on the attorney you're talking to, and obviously if you're going up against big business, you need somebody with a big name in your corner. Accidents don't wait for a good time. One bad moment, a wreck, a fall, a doctor who wasn't paying attention, and suddenly you're fighting an insurance company that does this every single day. That's why Clay started Clay Travis Law. He built a firm around one idea. People deserve someone willing to pay attention, ask the hard questions, and push back when things don't add up. Experienced trial attorneys who bring the fight to corporations and insurers, based in Nashville, trusted across the country. They lead negotiations with honesty, determination, and some Southern grit. Case evaluation is free, no charge, no pressure, no hassle. Just tell them your story. Go to claytravislaw.com or call 877-222-4444. That's claytravislaw.com. No case is too big or too small.
Back with you on the next round presented by Hard Rock Bets on Sport and State today. We're about to talk Big Ten football and do what we did yesterday here in our final segment, and that's pick the first loss for Big Ten contenders. If you want to go back to our social platforms and especially on YouTube and see our SEC first loss predictions, you can go do that yesterday. Our friends at XXXY Clothing bringing you this part of the show today, Brownie.
Yeah, it is a T-shirt basically that started a movement. XXXY Clothing did. We're going to tell you where you can get yours online. Basically, it was started by Jennifer Say. She was a national champion gymnast. She was a Levi's brand president, and when confronted with this, she walked away from a corporate job rather than say something she did not believe. She started her own brand, XXXY Athletics. Their mission, in words, empower female athletes and take a stand for fair competition. So that is the T-shirt that launched the movement for them. And by the way, they're the official Nashville Balls gear provider. Clay Travis, future WNBA franchise, XXXY, the official apparel brand for the Nashville Balls. Tees, trucker hats, they are out now. If you want the shirt, that's where you get it. This is real athletic apparel. It's not just a slogan on a shirt. Performance tops, tanks, sports bras, leggings, shorts, training sets. They've got men's and women's clothing, plus hoodies, hats, and graphic tees. Worn by athletes who've actually put something on the line. And new customers get 20% off your first order when you sign up. Free shipping for anything over $100. XXXYathletics.com. That's XX-XYathletics.com.
Hey, by the way, Alabama's announced their opening opponent in 2029 for college football. It's Louisiana Tech. Now, that game is not going to wow you, right? It's La Tech. But the game date will wow you. It's August the 25th. August 25th, which would be what we call nowadays week 0. The belief is as early as next year, we will not have a week 0. That'll be officially the week 1 game. So week 0 game is the way it's labeled now, but I bet it's called week 1 by then for Alabama and La Tech coming up on August the 25th in 2029.
I don't know what qualifies you to play a week 0 game. I don't think it's the worst strategy. You're able to spread it out a little bit more on your schedule.
TV ratings are usually really good because there's so few games and we're all football hungry.
There's nothing going on that weekend generally. I don't know, though, how you qualify to do it, because I do know, for instance, NC State and Virginia were supposed to play in Brazil.
You have to get NCAA approval.
You do, but my point is I don't know how you – like I understand like Hawaii, they're coming to the mainland, and they're playing Stanford. And then somebody goes to Hawaii the very next week, and they're able to play – who is that that plays Hawaii week 2?
Memphis?
Maybe. Is that why they're able to play?
No, UNLV.
UNLV. Yep. That's why they're able to play on week 0, because they're playing at Hawaii, and the NCAA allows for that. But I was going to say that NC State-Virginia game was supposed to be in Brazil. That's what allowed it to be week 0. They had to reapply to keep it week 0 when it moved back stateside here after the Brazil part got canceled.
Alabama La Tech and what will Brooks, did you tell me? Give me Brooks' microphone, Tyler. Is this Alabama's earliest game ever?
One of the earliest. It'll be the earliest since 1986. And this is really strange, actually. Alabama played on a Wednesday.
Yep.
August 27th, 1986, a 16-10 victory over Ohio State.
Yep. In East Rutherford, New Jersey.
I don't remember it being a Wednesday, but I remember the game.
I don't either.
For me, it was Labor Day night, but I guess it wasn't.
No, Labor Day night they played Georgia. You remember that pump block game? Yep. I believe that was Labor Day night, if I'm not mistaken. I do remember that Alabama-Ohio State game being earlier in the year. I did not remember it being a Wednesday night. That is a random night to play a football game.
Yeah, it really is.
All right, let's do the Big Ten first loss. To wrap up our first half of our next round product here today on Sport and State, presented by our friends at Hard Rock Bets. Forster is going to just pick up a random Big Ten contender, and we'll tell you who the first loss is. So, Forster, start us off. Whichever one you want to go with, we'll jump on there and try to do this and try not to paint ourselves into the corner. So who's up first?
I've got to remember I had Texas beating Ohio State for later.
All right, that is Oregon's schedule.
At USC, September 26th for me.
All right, so that's week 4 as we go across. They beat Boise, Oklahoma State, Portland State, and USC. You got USC beating them.
Yep.
Brownie?
I think I'm going to have them beating USC, but losing at Ohio State Saturday, November 7th. That'll be my first loss for them.
I'm going to go with Brown. I'm going to go Ohio State. I think they get USC. Nebraska, Illinois, Northwestern, UCLA. That middle line's pretty good for them. The ending's pretty tough, though. Ohio State and Michigan.
Yeah.
Michigan State and Washington. But I'll go Ohio State, too. I say 8-0, and they lose game 9.
Yeah, that game is massive in the Coliseum. I'll come back when we get to USC, and I'll kind of explain I'm threading the needle, but I think USC is going to get them.
All right. Who's up next, Forster? This is Ohio State. Ball State, Texas is next there. Anybody stop
Yeah,
Texas?
I've got Texas winning that game September 12th. I think it's going to be a hell of a game, but I think Texas will return the favor from last year.
When we did this exercise yesterday in the SEC, I had Texas winning this game consistently. I will keep them winning this game.
I think I had Ohio State winning this game yesterday, so I'll keep going. I think they get Indiana. I'm going to go at USC. I think USC gets Ohio State on the road at the Coliseum.
Halloween.
Before the Oregon game.
USC dressed as a contender that night?
Maybe. We can only hope.
Give me another one, Forrester. Big Ten contenders' first losses.
Is that Trent Dilford? No, it's Kurt Signetti.
I am going at Michigan October 24th.
That Northwestern game's interesting. No, I thought that was on the road. I thought they were opening the new stadium. They're not.
That's Penn State.
Yeah, they've got 4 straight home games. Their first road game in Piscataway.
Rutgers at Nebraska.
Yeah. So, Lance, you were out Friday.
Yep.
I did this with Dunaway. I was like, when you see these teams go on these long win streaks, like, regular season win streaks or whatever, and I brought up, Jim brought up, I can't remember who you brought up, somebody, it was an Alabama team, lost to Mississippi State on the road in Jackson.
1980.
1980. Then I brought up that Gene Stallings team that went from early 91 all the way into 93 without a loss. And LSU, a bad Curly Holman LSU team, beat them in Bryant-Denny. Remember, Miami had that long win streak, and Arizona ended it. Bear down defense ended it.
Yeah,
it frequently comes where you don't expect it.
The attention drifts a little bit.
That's right.
I just believe, based on the first 4 games, the first 5 games, even the first 6 games at Nebraska, it gets real Ohio State, but then I think they wake up. So I think they're 6-0. I think they beat Ohio State. And then the come down when they go to the Big House the very next week against an improved Michigan team with Underwood in that second year with Kyle Whittingham, with Jason Beck running that offense. I think that's going to be the come down after beating Ohio State. So that'll be, at that point, 23 consecutive wins.
My theory is, with Ohio State and Michigan on the horizon, their first loss is at Nebraska.
I'll go with Brownie. I'll take Nebraska.
I think that's the loss that surprises you. Like, wow, I did not expect Indiana's win streak to end in Lincoln, Nebraska.
And then you start talking Indiana misses the playoffs at that point.
Well, yeah, because their next 2 games are against Ohio State and Michigan.
Yeah, I'll ride with you. I'll go Nebraska on that one.
Not going to blow me away if they come back and beat Ohio State right after that.
About 8 minutes left in the show here, Forster. Who's next here? This is USC. LT, you said you had a point to make here. Go first.
Yeah, so I have got USC's first loss October 3rd to Washington. I believe that USC is going to come out on fire. I think they're going to start 5-0. After that Oregon win, people are going to be, this is the year for Lincoln Riley. I think they're going to lose at home to Washington, and then I think they're going to pop back up when we get to Penn State. I'll tell you this, I think they're going to beat Penn State on that whiteout. But I think they're going to lose that Washington game after there's so much momentum with a 5-0 start.
Tricky ending, because I think UCLA will be very improved with Nico back at the end. So you end the season, Ohio State, Indiana, Maryland, UCLA.
Yeah, I got to be consistent here because I had Oregon beating them earlier. So I'll say their first loss is Saturday, September 26th in the Mausoleum against the Oregon Ducks.
Same thing I said. Give me the next one, Forrester.
I hate it when we have to be consistent.
Yeah, you guys are so predictable.
I know.
Little helmet schedule, and what's the team here?
That's going to be the old flying wing.
Jim, go with the most helmets on there. Okay, Michigan, Jim.
It's week 2. It's Oklahoma rolling into the Big House. Oklahoma's the better team this year. Oklahoma's got more stability there.
I think Michigan, they whipped them last year.
Yeah, I think it's going to take Michigan, feeling it out a little bit with that offense and with Underwood again in year 2. I think it's week 2 against the SEC.
I'll ride with you this time, LT. I'll go Oklahoma as well over Michigan. And then after that,
I can make a case for Matt Campbell coming in there and getting that win on homecoming.
On Penn State,
from Penn State or Indiana. I mean, Oklahoma's probably the right answer there. I'm not as high on the Sooners as Lance is, and I don't know where you kind of stand on Oklahoma, Jim.
What's 7-5 for Kyle Whittingham? What does that look like to you guys?
If
he ends up 7-5,
not good at all.
Yeah. So if they lose to Oklahoma,
Oregon,
if they lose
Ohio
to
State,
Penn State, Indiana, Oregon, and Ohio State.
So your 7 wins are going to be UCLA, Michigan State, Rutgers, Minnesota, Iowa, UTEP, and Western Michigan. That is not going to go over too well.
Underwood is improved, which he should be in this new offense. I think they're going to get better each and every week. Get them early.
All right, Forrester, what's next? This is Penn State.
I think it's USC, and that is early October.
What do you have USC's record here? I'm trying to keep up with this.
I got them at 9-3.
9-3. Okay.
Yeah, they're giving a lot of Big Ten teams their first loss.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm going to go off the board. I'm going to say at Northwestern to open up new Ryan Field.
Oh, wow.
Crazy atmosphere. I think it's a Friday night game. So I'm going to go Penn State drops one at Northwestern. I was going to say that seems like such a Pat Fitzgerald thing to do, but he's at Michigan State now.
He is.
Brown, where's your first loss?
A USC game being at night kind of changes it for me. My concern with USC was that was going to be fly all the way across the country and play that body clock game. I'll take USC. I think Lance is right on that one, Saturday, October 10th.
That could be an easy 3-game losing streak right there if they were to drop Northwestern with USC and Michigan on the horizon.
Yeah, I mean, that is a bit of a trap game for them.
But a really good schedule for Penn State.
Oh,
Penn State's one of those teams that when we get to Selection Sunday, that if they're 9-3 or 10-2, I'm not sure they should be judged the same way as other 9-3 and 10-2
They're missing
teams.
the 3 best teams. They could miss every team that makes the playoffs from the Big Ten this year in Oregon, Ohio State, and Indiana. I said this yesterday. If USC had this schedule, Penn State schedule, they would be a college football playoff team for sure.
I don't know how many more we have.
I think there's one. I think it's Washington.
Okay, Washington is next.
I think Washington goes the deepest. I think they make it all the way at 10-0 to November 21st, and I think they end up losing their final 2 games of the season. And then I think it becomes like, what did they do to earn this? They beat SC, depending on how good SC is on the road. But the committee's going to have a little bit of trouble at that point. Would you guys agree if their 2 losses are the final 2 games of the season to go 10-2 against what seems like an easier Big Ten schedule?
They in that case, they would need USC to be good because they would have beaten USC. They would need Penn State to be good, and then I don't know who else they're going to hang their hat on. Nebraska, maybe?
They need Iowa to be pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, they wouldn't have a whole lot of we know where Iowa's going to be ranked then, Jim, is 24th, right?
But your scenario is they're 10-0.
Yep.
And then they lose to, I assume, 2 teams you think are in the playoffs.
Yep. Indiana and then add Oregon.
So they're 10-2, and then I'm deciding as a selection committee member, do they belong in the playoffs because their only losses were to playoff teams? And that's always an interesting debate. Do you have any wins over playoff teams?
Okay, well,
no.
I'll give you another scenario here. Let's just say that Indiana and Oregon are back playing. Oregon, it's been 2 years. Indiana played Ohio State last year, but let's say Indiana and Oregon are in Indianapolis playing the Big Ten championship game. Ohio State has lost that Texas game. They're sitting there at 9-3, and you've got 10-2 Washington, and they didn't play each other. If I'm a committee member, I'm taking Ohio State over Washington. You guys?
I think so.
So 9-3 Ohio State over 10-2 Washington. Yeah. I think I would.
10-2 Washington, who's lost to Indiana and Oregon, could have 0 top 25 wins. Now, I think Iowa, Penn State, Nebraska, somebody will sneak into the top 25, but they won't have a lot of them.
But the committee, I mean, not with Ohio State, but other leagues like a second Big 12, a second ACC, a 5th SEC team, 10-2 resonates with the committee, at least so far. They seem to go by win-loss records more than they do quality wins and strength of schedule.
I think the committee really likes to see double-digit wins. I don't know why that should matter because I'm with you. A 9-3 Ohio State could have a much better team than a 10-2 Washington, but they like to see those 10 wins.
Yeah, but the same if it's a 9-3 Texas versus 10-2 Washington, 9-3 Alabama versus 10-2 Washington. I would venture to say those SEC teams I mentioned would have better wins than what Washington. I didn't know that was Washington's schedule.
It's not too bad until you get to the end.
Yeah.
I mean, if they could just play the first 10 weeks, they'd be one of the best teams in America.
Yeah, I think they're going to be one of the surprises, especially early on. Again, if they open 10-0, they're number 6, 7 in the nation probably, maybe even higher.
Yeah. Oh, if they're 10-0, they'll be top 5.
Yeah.
By the way, Washington State rivalry game in the opener.
I don't know if they're top 5.
Yeah.
Wazoo, you think Wazoo could?
No, I'm just saying that game's in Seattle.
Yeah.
And Washington was putting Washington State's band, or Washington State, whoever decided that the band wasn't going to be in the lower bowl. I think Alabama endured this when they went to Texas a few years ago.
They did, yeah, Upper Deck.
So the band's going to be Upper Deck. So for the first time, I think it's the first time in a long time at the Apple Cup, the visiting band's not making the trip. Washington State's band decides we're not going.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to factor in at all.
Yeah, but a little bad blood in that rivalry, of course, going on. Hey, don't forget tomorrow night, our kickoff party for the season, our 5th anniversary party is at Walk-Ons on Highway 280, presented by Bud Light, Alexander Shunnarah Trial Attorneys. Come hang out with us starting at 5 with special beer prices and Uber rides home if you need it. In the next 2 hours on the next round, remember, we'll drop off now and you'll click another link to come back and join us. Tom Hart is on the show in the next hour. We look forward to talking to a voice of college football on ESPN and a great voice of SEC basketball. Tom Hart is on the show and a lot more college football stuff. That's all coming up. When we come back on the other side, this is the next round presented by Bets on Sport and State.